Hello everybody! Okay, so for today's little mini training, over 50% of you chose the topic of what college students get wrong about happiness. So I want you to ask yourself, are you passionate about your STEM studies, or are you obsessed with what you think they can give you? And are you falling into this idea that you need good grades in order to get a good job, in order to make more money, in order to buy a house and a car that'll make you more happy? I know I fall into that category, and I actually enrolled into this class from Yale. It's called The Science of Well-Being, and what I've learned in that class is that those items actually don't make us as happy as we think because of two main mechanisms in our brain. And then she goes on to explain what you can actually invest your time and your energy into that will actually bring you the happiness that you think those things are going to bring you. And so when I kind of did my own reflection on this lesson and really diving into why I was chasing those things was, if you get down to it, I wasn't chasing those things because of actually having the accomplishment, but because I was chasing the feeling I thought those accomplishments were going to give me. And I can say with so much certainty that that's most likely why you're chasing it too. You are chasing what you think those things are going to make you feel, and what you want to feel is accomplished. You want to feel happy, you want to feel successful, you want to feel confident. And those feelings can be reached in so many other ways aside from getting a good grade, aside from getting a good job, aside from buying a house. And feelings are unlimited, feelings are abundant. You can step into those feelings now, and then you don't need that item to give you your value, to give you your happiness. You can step into it in the now, and then you won't have this desperation for getting that grade, this desperation for that job, because you're already in that feeling. And then you can kind of manifest it with a lot more ease because that desperate neediness isn't there. That was just my personal reflection, but the lesson that she teaches is that your brain is super notorious for miswanting. And when she taught this concept on miswanting, I actually think it'd be better if it was called mispredicting, because that's really the point. Your brain falls into this idea that it's chasing after items that actually don't make you as happy as you think they will, but for some reason it's wanting them so badly, and it's notorious for wanting the wrong things, like that laundry list that I just explained. And she also said that it happens in the reverse as well. Our brain thinks that if we don't have those things, it's going to be the end of the world. And I can even speak from my own personal experience. I thought that I needed to get A's. And if I didn't get an A, I really thought that my life was going to be over. I know that sounds exaggerating, but if you really go into it, that's how it felt. And when I got my first C, guys, I had all A's, and then the first non-A grade I got was a C. And my heart dropped, and for a moment it obviously sucked. Did it suck as bad as I thought it was gonna suck? No. And that's because of miswanting, which like I said, I think is better to be called mispredicting. So your brain is notorious for mispredicting the amount of happiness that you're gonna get from an item and the duration of that happiness. Your brain is also mispredicting how horrible an item, a situation would be if it were to happen to you, and how long the negative feeling will last. It is notorious for getting that completely wrong, and I'm sure you can come up with the examples where that's true, right? Like how happy do you actually get from getting that A? How horrible is it when you actually get a C? Like, is it actually as bad as your brain predicts? No. And there's science behind this. No. Okay, the second thing. Your brain is also in this habit called hedonic adaptation. So when you do get these items, when you do get an A, when you do get the job, when you do have a car, when you do have that house, your brain gets used to it, and it adapts. It adapts to the fact that it's always there, and it loses its luster. It loses its, grand, like, oh my goodness. And the example that she gave in this course was, imagine the day that you got into the university that you're going to. And, some people record themselves and there's this big, gigantic hoorah, like, oh my God, I got into Cal Poly Pomona, holy shit. Do you go to class feeling like that? That's because of hedonic adaptation. You get used to it. You go there every day now. That level of gratitude and happiness and excitement has diminished because of hedonic adaptation. And the items that are notorious for being hedonically adapted to are grades, jobs, houses, cars, because they last so long, because you're in it every day. And the quote that she gave in the lesson was, people think that getting these items will make them happier because they last longer, but in fact that's the worst part of it, because they stick around to help you feel disappointed. And I know that sounds really sad, and I heard that quote and I was like, oh my god. That's sad to think about, but that's how your brain is wired. And there's nothing you can do about the fact that your brain is wired that way. It is going to happen, and that's why when you chase these items, they don't make you as happy as you thought, because of miswanting them and because of the hedonic adaptation that happens. But what she ended up teaching, and she said this like so passionately, was that what you should actually be investing your time and your energy and your focus and your attention on is experiences. She said that experiences are the top way towards happiness because they don't last as long as a car sitting there or a house sitting there. The experiences are the key to happiness because the hedonic adaptation does not occur. And another key factor of experiences is they can't be compared to others. So a lot of times why these aspects make us so unhappy is because you're comparing your grade to other people, you're comparing your job to other people, you're comparing your car to other people's car, you're comparing your house to other people's house. That leads to like the number one way of negative feelings and unhappiness. So by stepping into experiences, there's really not a quantifiable way to compare your experience to another person's. And so it takes away this one factor that is so key to dismantling our happiness, that social comparison. Second, experiences, like I said already, it doesn't fall into the hedonic adaptation, and you can step into that memory, that feeling of that experience consistently. And it's a way for you to constantly get a boost of the happiness that you had during that experience. So it doesn't just give you the happiness while you're in the middle of the experience, it also gives you long-lasting happiness because you can go back to that memory when you tell that story to other people. So when you tell the story of your ski trip, or when you tell the story of the experience, you get a boost of happiness by saying it to others, and other people love hearing those kinds of stories. Some people don't like, the way that she explained it in the class was that it can actually be a social disconnect when you brag about the car you got and the job you got and things like that. But when you explain an experience, because there isn't that social comparison there, you can actually connect better, and making connections, social connections, not social comparisons, but social connections actually leads to more happiness. And so I want to ask you guys, what is an experience that you can invest your time and your attention and your focus on instead of the grades and the job and everything else, the laundry list that I just said? Now, what if every single Saturday you woke up to a self-care experience? What if every single Saturday you woke up to a safe community of STEM students that wanted the same balance that you did? What if every single Saturday you had a call with someone who understands you completely, who has gone through the same, studying struggles that you are currently going through, and is guiding you through how to diminish the stress, ditch the stress, and actually finally have that soulful schedule that you've been looking for while you study? What if you invested all that attention into that experience? How would that feel? And I want to invite you to experience that with me. I am actually hosting a 6-week group coaching program that is a self-care experience for STEM students specifically. And we actually start August 22nd. We have 2 of the spots already taken. I'm only taking 6 girls, so there's 4 left. And if that's an experience that you want to have, I would love to have you in it. So click the link in my bio.